Hello, Challenger fans. I usually don't do videos, but I wanted to get everybody's opinions on what I'm doing. I'm currently 46 years old, and I just decided to go to flight school and learn how to fly airplanes. I have not soloed yet, but I got the fever, I got the bug, and I couldn't wait to buy an aircraft. So I did a lot of research, and I discovered one of the more affordable routes to go was to look into LSAs. And the most, I guess, the one that interested me the most was the Quad City Challenger 2. It's got a really good reputation, obviously, been built for a long time, and seemed to be, from what I've read and what I've seen on YouTube and Facebook, a good option. I like the fact that they're affordable, um, they're reliable, and they're extremely cheap to operate. And from what I've read, they're forgiving in flight. So I began my search to find one, and I live in Alaska, and there's not a whole lot of them up here. I found two here in Alaska. I live in Wasilla. One of them was in a town called Soldotna, which is about 2.5 hours away from me. The other one was in Fairbanks, and which is about 6 hours away from where I'm at. The the one in Fairbanks, I felt like the guy was asking way too much money for the airplane and the condition that it was in. And the one in Soldotna sounded very reasonable, but it hadn't been started in a long time. There was no paperwork that came with the aircraft, and they had already promised it to somebody else in another state. So, I continued my look and had a airplane bought actually a what was it? It was a early model Citabria. It was made by Aeronca. It was a Champ, but it was 160 horsepower, completely rebuilt airplane. Had the aircraft bought for 30,000. Went the next morning to give the man the money and make the exchange, and his friend told him to back out. So I lost that plane. Things just kept getting worse and worse. And finally, one day, I got a phone call from the guy who had the Challenger in Soldotna and said that the individuals that had told them that they wanted the aircraft had backed out and wanted to know if I was still interested in it. And of course, I was. So, long story short, I went down there, I bought the aircraft, probably paid too much for it, but then again, maybe not. So, what I got in the deal was I got an aircraft that was, the kit was purchased, I believe, in 1989. Uh, the registration, the paperwork I've gotten from the FAA, the registration was decommissioned or whatever. You got deregistered in, I think, 2001. And then the aircraft just kind of fell off the face of the earth. Uh, According to the paperwork with the FAA, it was originally built in Kitty Hawk, Florida, or excuse me, Fort Pierce, Florida. Uh, the name of the road that the guy lived on was Kitty Hawk. Um, Anyways, he kept it for a couple years after he built it. He's the one that originally registered the aircraft, and he sold it to another person in Florida. That, but when he sold it, he deregistered the aircraft and sold it to this man for parts uh, only. So it's listed as destroyed. And I got a bunch of pilot friends up here in Alaska, and I asked them why would somebody do that, and their response was it was more likely than not to relieve the individual of any liability. So when he sold the aircraft, he sold it as parts only. However, when I purchased the aircraft, it was a complete aircraft. It had been in storage for a while. I got it from an old man. His son actually sold it to me, but the old man was 88, 89 years old, and he just couldn't fly it no more. And it was just sitting there. So they wanted to get rid of it, give it to somebody that could fly it. So in the package, I got the aircraft. I got a Rotax 503 engine, single spark plug per cylinder, and a set of floats that I don't think go with the aircraft. I think they're too small, but they're there, and I took those with me. And I may have already mentioned, I got a second engine, which was virtually brand new. I think they said it had less than 12 hours on the engine, and it was a dual spark 503 Rotax. So I got all of that, $7,000. And if I can figure out how, I'll put the pictures on it of the aircraft, how I found it. Rented a U-Haul and brought it home. And the next day, I put some fresh gas in it and bought a battery. And it literally cranked up like the first time I hit the button, like it was instantaneous. And ran beautifully. But the aircraft has been sitting for a while, obviously, and so the windows have started to yellow. You know, the instrument panel was a piece of plywood and had some decent instruments, but it looked old, and the wiring, you know, just looked pitiful. Been spliced several times, and so me being me, I like for my stuff to be squared away, and I like for it to look good. So I started taking stuff off. I'm going to replace this. I'm going to replace that, and I'll just take you outside and show you what it looks like now. All right, so here we are. We're out here in my garage. I'm a little embarrassed. I wish I'd have started doing this prior to tearing this thing apart, but just so you could have seen how it actually was before I started tearing into it. But the more I tore into it, the more stuff I found that I wanted to fix. So what I've decided to do is just I'm going to put in all new stuff. I got this plane had the sling seats in it from way back when. Like I said, the wiring was bad. Everything was just it needs to be replaced, because I want a good aircraft. I want something that's safe. And another thing I want to do is I want to completely enclose the cockpit, because I want to fly this thing in the wintertime. I want to put a heater on it, and I want to enjoy it. And I'm really excited about flying it. And, you know, I haven't gotten my license yet, so I've got time to play, right? So I contacted Mike Harrison. He and I are working together, trying to get the stuff that I need. I got lots of parts ordered, anxiously waiting for them to get here. And as I'm waiting on these parts, I've decided I'm just going to go ahead and swap the engines out. I'm going to put the more modern dual spark engine on the aircraft, and see what comes out of it. But, you know, without further ado, let me show you my aircraft. Don't be stunned when I show it to you, because it's in pieces. But I'll give you a quick tour of it, and you guys can, you know, share your comments if you will. Please be gentle. Like I said, I'm new. I'm learning this stuff. But, you know, with that said, I'm excited about it. I will get this thing back in the air. I've talked to the FAA. They've assured me that I can get the aircraft registered. It may be a process, but it can happen. So, and when we do, we're going to make sure it's safe. So, without further ado, here is my Challenger. Ta-da! So, you know, you can see right away, you know, I think it's a beautiful airplane. The wings are in my other garage. Some of y'all might notice the landing gear there. I believe that is the back 40 landing gear from back in the day. It's got a suspension on it. Got some pretty decent sized tires here, which is actually probably handy here in Alaska, because you know we do a lot of grass runways and gravel runways. In fact, I've got a hangar already secured here on a private airport that has its own gravel runway, and that's what we're going to be flying this rascal on. Let me get over this way. So here's the other side. You can see the wires hanging out. All this stuff's going to come out. My initial thought was to just do the rewiring myself, and then talking to Mr. Harrison, I found out that he actually makes complete wiring harnesses for these guys. So I stopped what I was doing and asked him to make me a new wiring harness, and he did. Or he is making it. He's in the process. So there's my carburetors. I've decided these are the Bing 54s. They were working great. They're already hooked up. So I think I'm just going to leave them on and just going to put them on the new engine, because the ones for the new engine are right here. And yeah, they're exactly the same. So I don't see no reason to swap them out. You can see here, this is one of the control sticks. The old man that I bought the airplane from did not like the fact that there was a set of control sticks in the back that somebody could manipulate and cause him to crash, so he cut it off. My plan is to put that back on. I don't know if I'm going to completely put a new control stick back there, or if I'm going to try to modify this one where I can make it removable, because I do like the fact that you can remove them, because one of the things I look forward to doing is having my little boy riding with me, and he has Down syndrome, which, you know, is no big deal, but part of the, I guess, the effects of having Down syndrome sometimes is, you know, he can be a little impulsive. So, you know, we want to take that desire away, I guess you would say. There's a strobe light system on this aircraft. That's just a box, the controller for that. Let's see, it is a, yeah, there's the, not sure who makes that, but there's the part numbers and stuff. It's actually a pretty decent system. And back here's the wiring in the back. All this is going to get cleaned up. I've got the fuel tank out right now. I still got the 10-gallon tank. I'm putting a new pickup line because the other one was corroded. And putting in a sending unit, because there was no fuel gauge on this aircraft. So when I get done with it, there will be. If anybody recognizes this thing, by all means, please let me know. It's got a beautiful paint job on it. And I mean, for what it is, I'm really impressed with how well it has held up over the years. I don't see any holes in the fuselage or anything like that. The old man that owned it said it was his favorite aircraft that he ever owned. He said he just liked to get in it and fly around up here in Alaska, which you can imagine. It's got some unbelievable views up here. Prop is in excellent condition. So here's the original engine. This is the one that was on it when I brought it home. It runs like a top, but after speaking with Mr. Harrison, he said I might be better off putting this one on. This is the new one, newer, I should say. It has been mounted on another aircraft. It was mounted on a small ultralight, and the old man apparently run it into some trees or something. Never hurt the engine, just bent up his ultralight, and that's when they told him he was no longer allowed to fly. So that's where this engine came from. I just took it somewhere and had this gear taken off, which is, if I may offer you guys some advice, which you probably already know this, but in my ignorance, I looked at the system and I knew that gear had to come off. I said, well, shoot, I can do that myself. You shouldn't do that. Go ahead and buy the part if you can find it. It's very expensive, but I'll put it this way. I could have bought the part twice had I had done that first for what it cost me to fix what I tore up. But anyways, lesson learned, right? So this, stand by. All right, so pardon the interruption. My son just got home and he's already thinks I'm weird, so I'm sure he'll think I'm really weird if he sees me out here talking to myself. So anyways, some of the stuff that I've ordered the aluminum seat pan kit. That's front and back. I'm putting the new instrument panel in that Mr. Harrison sells. It's got the you know, kind of the bent up instrument panel. Got some new gauges. I'm not buying all new gauges because the ones I had were fine. The old man had taken out the rudder pedals. I'm putting those back in. May do something with those later. I don't know, because I'm the only person in my family that flies. So we'll see how that goes. But right now they're going back in. The brake system, I'm not messing with it right now. I know it needs to be upgraded because it's got the old drum brakes on it. Maybe later on. I don't think it's like something that's going to keep me from operating the plane right now, but we'll see where that goes. I did buy a brand new battery. Those aren't cheap. And I found out too that you can't just go to O'Reilly's and buy a motorcycle battery and stick in there because it's not going to work. New air filters have been purchased. I got new Lexan glass coming in, so I'm going to all new windows, doors. I'm going to enclose the top of the aircraft. Before winter sets in again here, I'm going to get a heater. I know some folks build their own. I've looked at U-Fly-It, the system they have there. I like how clean it looks, but maybe some of you guys can tell me how effective it is, because it gets cold up here. I'm sure I don't have to tell you guys that. There's my redrive. Ordered a new belt. That's coming in. As far as I can tell, all this is in really good shape. Not going to mess with it. The electric fuel pump, all that works. I don't think I'm going to mess with that. So one thing I do notice though is on this fuel pump, this little cylinder, I think that may be a primer. I'm not sure. This is obviously the electric fuel pump, so somebody can kind of let me know what's going on there. I got the aluminum bulkheads. All this is solid. Everything's in good shape. All this looks good to me. Everything's intact. I did buy a new switch panel. I'll scan that right there. I'm going to put my lights and stuff on. That has been the bane of my existence right there, because I know very little about electricity and how to wire stuff, which is why I was so excited when Mr. Harrison told me that they make wiring harnesses for these things. So anyways, I know it looks like a hunk of junk right now, but I'm excited about it. And maybe you guys, you know, can move me in the right direction here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you to my other garage. I'll let you guys look at the wings and the floats that I got. Oh, while I'm still here, let me show you this too. So here's the redrive. This is a B kit. This thing is the one I took off the new engine. Like I said, I think it's only got, from my understanding, I think there's logbooks with it too. This thing's only got like 10 or 12 hours on it. I have no use for it, so if there's anybody out there that needs this, you know, hit me up. Maybe we can make a deal. All right, stand by. All right, so these are my wings. Obviously not on the aircraft right now. They look like they're in excellent condition. One thing this aircraft does have is the drooped wing tips on it, which from my understanding at the time, that was kind of the going thing for these aircraft. And you know, it is what it is. Looks like it's in excellent shape. This aircraft was stored inside a large shed with the wings off. The wings were up against the door. And so yeah, it hasn't been out in the weather. So it seems like it's in really good condition. All the parts and stuff are there. Looks like a very well built airplane. Down here are the doors. Look like they've been kind of pieced together a little bit. I'm going to fix those. Obviously, you know, we got new glass coming, new Lexan. I don't know, I may hang on to the frames for a little bit, or I may just go ahead and fix them or build new ones. You guys let me know what I should do. And then next door here, we got the floats that came with this airplane. I think these may be puddle jumper floats. I can't find any markings on these things where they've ever been mounted, but they have got spots on them to show their age a little. Right here, there's some cracks. Couple little bad spots. I imagine if somebody knew how to work with fiberglass, they could fix that. There's a little spot there, but there's no mounting clips, so I don't know. I personally don't. There's another item I don't have a whole lot of use for. Just if I'm going to put floats on the aircraft, it's going to be amphibious floats. But yeah, if anybody's interested in those, I think they're 11, maybe 12 feet long. And they're 14 pounds a piece. So let me know if anybody's interested, and maybe we can do something on that too. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. If you guys got any tips or info that you can share with me, kind of help me out on my journey here, I'd appreciate that. Like I said, please be gentle. I don't, you know, let's be constructive. I look forward to hearing from everybody and getting your comments. You know, and if this video does well, then maybe I'll make some more and kind of keep everybody in the loop, and we can do this together. So should be getting some parts in pretty soon from Quad City, and getting some from Mr. Harrison from his company. I'll keep you guys informed, show you what all I got, and look forward to hearing from you guys.